D-Day is here as Florida Medical Board is deciding to ban doctors from performing trans medical treatments on Friday. On Friday, the Florida Board of Medicine is scheduled to consider a proposal by the DeSantis administration to ban gender-affirming care for transgender youth. A petition to consider the issue was filed by the State Department of Health last week, and as the Agency for Healthcare Administration is moving to ban medical coverage for transgender care for low-income individuals of any age. Much of this policy comes from the urging of DeSantis-appointed Surgeon General of Florida, Joseph Ladapo. Ladapo is affiliated with America's Frontline Doctors, a far-right group that has been known for pushing false information about the pandemic, including the use of hydrochloroquine and ivermectin for treating COVID-19 and opposition of vaccines. Ladapo opposes transgendered care and has fought to restrict name changes and pronoun changes for trans youth in the state.
The ripple effect of this is scary. When you look at how many people were already impacted by the silencing of who they are, now you have medical professionals that are going to be charged with not being allowed to provide care for these kids who are actually supported and loved by their parents and want to diminish some of those challenges that they're running into both in and out of school.
There was also part of this story, there was a group of professors from Yale, University of Alabama, Birmingham, I think, and one other university, and they all came out and said, this is ludicrous, this is not healthy, what you're thinking about doing.
Yeah. Well, it's completely ludicrous because changing your name is one thing, right? Having gender affirmation surgery is so important to a trans person. So if you don't even have the right to change your name to be able to express like who you are, even that one little baby step, and then now your complete right to become the person who you truly are is completely ridiculous. This is a human's rights, it's complete stripping of any rights for any people. Trans people are people.
I'm curious. There are people in our community, in LGBTQ plus community. I keep with the acronym, but specifically in the trans community. Why is this? And I'm making an assumption. Correct me if my assumption is wrong. Friday, August 5th, is we have it in our headline. It's D-Day for the trans community in Florida. Why is this not a bigger story in our own community? Why is this Friday and what's going on for the trans community not an, oh my goodness, this is an all-stop moment for trans people in Florida?
Probably because there's not enough representation. We don't have
and
trans activists talking.
And my question though is very specific about why is, and especially I frequently bundle it into this white gay men.
I know.
Why are the gay men broadly and the white gay men just not up in arms over this? What's going on and why we're not responding?
I think the trans community, even in our community, is still so much of a minority and underrepresented. So many of them, the ones that I know personally, they're just trying to survive day to day.
But we need to take it more seriously.
Of course.
As like gay white men, we're going to have to speak up. You know what I mean? We have to do something different. We have to go out there and speak for these trans people. We have to.
Well, and let's not forget that this is all part of DeSantis's bigger strategy, which is to fragment us and pull us apart from each other. Yeah. And so he's picking off the low-hanging fruit, as it were. This is something easy to go for because I think, to Al's point, this is something that we most of the time just stand back from and don't really get upset about.
Well, and our community is full of inter-community hate. I mean, lots of communities are, but we're going to have to figure this out. And we have to start doing something now. But it is D-Day on Friday, and we're just now knowing, a lot of us are just finding this out.
Yeah, do you think DeSantis' war plan, let's stay in the D-Day metaphor, is working?
I think this is his clear strategy, and I think it's probably working better than I want it to.
He's really we think he's that smart. We're going to give him that credit?
It might not be him, but definitely the people pulling the strings.
Really?
He's the representation of it. I said, I talked about Nikki Fried and appointment and statewide office of the first LGBT liaison, which was Nick Harris, who's now at HRC, and Nathan Brummer. Nathan Brunner is a trans man. I had dinner with him last week, and Nathan Brummer basically says this August 5th date is aimed at children in Florida. That's what they're going after, but that's not really what they want. What they really want is to convince all doctors that would be trans supporting doctors to get out of the business of being supportive of trans. It's the same kind of strategy as we have seen on abortion rights, and get all kinds of medical professionals out of the field, and therefore you minimize the ability to offer abortion rights
It's
for
the
women.
same thing as don't say gay. You
Exactly.
take the power away from the teachers to talk about it.
Well, and the
Exactly.
scary thing about that is just like with abortion, kids want to explore, they want to be experimentative. We're going to see people who might try and do some things to their bodies themselves without the correct care, the correct guidance. And what then? Are they not going to be allowed any kind of
Not in
treatment to
Florida.
help them? You know, they're going to take measures.
Well,
into
because
their
then
own hand
regular
and it won't
doctors will also
safe.
be held
It won't
liable,
be
I'm
safe.
guessing, as well. They won't even, like, what about your pediatrician? Oh, we can't discuss, oh, your son's having thoughts of, being another gender. Oh, we can't even talk to you about that because we'll be criminalized. We'll go to jail. I mean, this is just going to get really confusing again, just like it has with Roe v. Wade, where people can't use contraceptives, or they have miscarriages that they can't remove because of the law and how complicated it is. I just think it's a joke.
We're putting a lot of pressure on policing these words and people's feelings, their identification of who they are here rather than who they are here, how they present. And the unfortunate part is that we're losing touch with them. So we're losing touch with them. The parents will have no place to go but to another, I'd say, mental health professional, or possibly go get a psychiatrist to write a script to help them just suffer through some of the symptoms that they're experiencing while watching their children go through.
Where's their
something else.
voice?
You're right, absolutely. Where's the voice?
A quick final thought on what we're going to see this week and what's going to come from it. When I had dinner with Nathan Brummer, now he is the LGBTQ liaison for the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services for Nikki Fried. He is talking about what the intent here is and what's going to happen to people in Florida, which is his representation, and specifically for LGBT, as being hired by Nikki Fried to do this job. And it was an aha moment for me as I'm sitting at dinner and he's talking about what the goal and the intent of the governor is here against trans, but more importantly than the children is aimed at the doctors and the healthcare providers. And then he moves it to go, and that's when he's going to get me. And Nathan Brummer explains, as a trans man, testosterone therapy is incredibly important. Hormone therapy is
Absolutely.
incredibly important. And where do I find the doctor that continues my testosterone therapy that I'm going to need for my entire life when they withdraw out of the space, making the comparison again to abortion providing or teachers in schools? And I realized, wait, Nathan Brummer, who's the first ever LGBT liaison appointed by a statewide cabinet secretary in Florida, commissioner in Florida, may not be able to have testosterone therapy because the governor's insidious plan has been so good.
Well, and it's like what Ty mentioned earlier. It's just whittling away at our community to weaken us. And then what?
One final note, and we're going to Ty's going to take us someplace else, but we've already discussed tonight the decision about DeSantis being able to do it, and the decision of Nathan Brummer being able to be the LGBTQ liaison for the Secretary of Agriculture, Commissioner of Agriculture and Consumer Affairs. The governor's seat was decided by 14,000 votes out of 8.1 million, and Nathan Brummer was decided by 4,000 votes out of 8.1 million. So we go back to this question: what could possibly be more important to us in Florida?
Then
Got to vote.
getting out the vote.
We've got to vote.
Friday is D-Day for our trans community. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.